Well, I'm going on a Starfort tour with you. Yeah, I'm going on a Starfort tour with you. Yeah, I'm gonna wonder what these Starforts do. Chances are that I'm just as confused as you. Confused as you. I'm as confused as you. That's what confused folks do. Confused as
This is the town of Langres. The town dates back to pre-Roman times, we're told, and a rich and varied history. It was originally inhabited by what they say were the Gauls, the Celtic people who lived in Central and Western Europe, who were conquered by the Romans in the 1st century BC, and Laon was an important Roman town. Center of trade and culture, and ruled by a succession of powerful bishops through the Middle Ages who are the ones who allegedly built the impressive fortifications to defend against invasions that largely never came. The town was also home to a number of important religious institutions, including a monastery and several churches. In the 16th century, it was an important center of the Renaissance. Many historic buildings were constructed during this time, including the Cathedral of St. Mamer and the Town Hall. During the 17th and 18th century, it was a center of resistance against the absolutist monarchy of Louis XIV. Playing an important role in the French Revolution, and several prominent revolutionary figures were born here. In the modern era, it's an important center of culture and commerce, we're told, a thriving tourism industry, thanks to the historic architecture and beautiful natural surroundings, also known to excellent food, wine, and a particular cheese, and home to several important culinary festivals. The fortifications that we call Starfort have been besieged by English forces in the 100 Years' War, but the city was not captured. And there was a few important battles during the wars of religion, allegedly, in the 16th century, where the Catholics held a stronghold here and were besieged by Protestants. You know how they always fight, even through today's times. Catholics and Christians always at war with each other. Well, nothing has changed. It looks like a fascinating place to explore, and so explore it we shall.
And so, here in Langres, we are exploring. This here is on the outskirts, and it's a little funky little place. Gated up, looks like there's some work being done, but stone appearing to match, at least in appearance, the same stone that's usually made of these Starforts. And you know, here's something I've noticed before is, and this just could be, coincidence, but often on top of these things, just strangely lush to the point where you can always see. Sorry, a little wacky there. We have to fix that one in post, Jimmy. Don't tell you we can't do it. We're such a negative ass. This farmhouse looking like it's seen better days. And look at this grass in the living room. Looks like, if that is a living room. Where were we? There we are. Looking like an albatross from this angle. And you see how the trees seem to be growing on the top of it, but not in the other area. The other area looks like more of a manicured lawn. I wonder what this is. It's a road. Similar to that Trail of Trees video that I made when that thing I have found. Others have found things like it. And sometimes the world looking like it's sort of terraformed, like plants and things grow along these sort of pre-designated lines. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's something to that where certain areas of the world have this magnetic charge or something where trees just consistently try to pop up. And then there's other areas where they just never seem to take seed, despite being maybe 20 yards away from a place that's insanely lush. So it's not just a matter of climate. And here's the fort. Here's the outsides of it anyway, or I call it a fort like that, but I'm going to jump over here to the other Google Earth. I like to run both at the same time. At some point, the parent company of this place and this map place, amongst other changes they made, they did a little bait and switch. It used to be that you downloaded Google Earth Pro, I said the name. Used to be if you download Earth Pro, it was the better version, much better version. More features, better imagery. But at some point, the web version is actually, in many ways, much better now. A little bait and switch they did there. Now, you can't do historical imagery on the web version, but other than that, the actual photography is much better. I mean, look how much closer you can get. It's astoundingly better in many areas. I mean, this is just, if you were sitting there, you might be able to tell, that's a dude sitting there smoking a cigarette, or, whatever you were doing. Maybe you're doing something nefarious. So I like to do them both at the same time. Sometimes the imagery is different. Sometimes you can get close with one that you can't with the other. It's like having two doctors, different opinions. I mean, I guess I actually don't know what that's like. I've never had one doctor. Okay. So here is the, even from this angle, it doesn't really look as impressive as it actually is. But this whole city area or town area is ringed with this up on the hilltop here. And I'm not really sure how this would be that defensively effective in a town of 1,000 people. You could never cover the whole area. You could never man the whole wall. Not with that few people. We'll take a little look here. This is the approach. If you were just down here in the lower part, seeking refuge perhaps in the upper, more protected areas, you can always see these little water lines and irrigation pipes and things that are just spread everywhere. All the stone looking very ancient and very cobbled together, a lot of it. Like it's just been redone and patched and rebuilt, you name it. Changes everywhere. And of course, of this being a hilltop, certain foundation explanations are understandable, but not all. There's still the whole debris flood that's quite apparent in some of these cases. Beautiful place, just seeming so untouched and so peaceful. And I wish France had their shit together, because Macron is a piece of trash, and hopefully they will realize it soon. And I mean, I'm not trying to throw stones at a glass house. I'm aware that our leaders, our non-elected leaders, are just as big, if not worse, of trash. So, I'm with you. We got trash on top, bro. My fellow strawman Frenchmen out there. Let's stand in unity against the trash that propends to lead us into the dump. Where trash goes. Brick underneath. Looks like concrete. It's a lie. Even brick in the middle. The culvert. The little drainage ditch made of brick. Everything brick. It's interesting that the number one, economically at least, the force lining up against the Western powers of neocon douchery call themselves BRICS, the alliance between Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, Iran, and more to join. But BRICS is the acronym. How do I put this without getting flagged? I like bricks. Bricks are the building block of the future. I wish there were more bricks and things like bricks. Teehee. Take that up your algorithm, a-hole. And just amazing that you can just find things like that. Like, what was this? Who knows? Just an abandoned wall. I mean, it looks like an old temple or something. And just par for the course in France, just walking by majestic carved columns and some forgotten amazing structure that that's like a cloth fabric sort of seemingly carved in stone or cast. Just incredible. And brick, although that was brick used most inappropriately to seal a window. Anyway, Langres, amazing place. And as ever, I would relish the opportunity to visit a place like this. If there is ever some sort of an invitation from someone who said, hey, you may come sleep on the floor outside of my home for a matter of 2 or 3 days, I'd be there in a jiffy, and I would, and do, cordially invite anyone else to do the same. Although, you don't have to sleep outside. You can sleep inside, where it's nice and cozy. That's it. It came across hella creepy. You know what I'm saying. Boots on the ground explorers. We need to look out for each other. And what's interesting to me is probably most boring to you in your town, and likewise. Although, I will say, Europe, nothing really, you got, that area just has so much of this, that it's almost numbing. And I imagine if you grew up amongst it, it would seem like meh. But then something like here, like, Native Americans would seem awesome. Because it's, you always love what's unfamiliar. The grass is always greener, they say. Until a certain point, I think. And then at some point, you kind of go the other way on that. What do I know? I'm only partially through life. I'm only one person. I see the surveillance cameras are even here in Langres. How dare you invade my peaceful walk, listening to my thoughts, no doubt. What a stunning place, though. Really. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. And my theory, of course, is that these weren't forts. Not initially. I think that they predate by a long time anyone who ever set foot here. I think there was something else once from an older, much older time, and abandoned. And eventually, when the Romans came on the scene, the clone army of the invaders, of course this is just my theory, then of course people had to seek refuge in the walls and turn them into forts, and they had to think militarily that they didn't have to do before. And gradually even that was forgotten as the Romans rewrote history and the churches reestablished the social norms and destroyed anything that dissented in the Great Reformation. And now you have this sort of lost people living amongst the ruins, not really thinking about them too much until they're asked, and really resembling the pictures of the old Romans doing the same thing, hanging out amongst ruins that they don't seem to have any clue about. Predictive programming, perhaps. But what do I know? This is just a vague theory. And what do we have over there? Let's go check it out. I think it's that one cathedral they're famous for. Look at him sprinting. Sorry, sir. Excuse me. Whoa, hold on. I always say France is the best hubcaps in the world, and I mean to prove it. Well, wow, look at that little guy. So cool the way they just eke out a living here, like these little lots, these little places. Like I'd love for my little grandmother would have retired here. Would have been great. Damn. What a building. What a needlessly tall door. And the restoration work being done. Interesting. Let me see. What are you guys doing, huh? What are you guys fucking doing? Looks like that's all just material for scaffolding. And that is a hell of a lot of scaffolding that you would need. And just interesting, you have the steel, at least this metal pipe scaffolding. Shitloads of it to get that high. In the modern era, you need this intensely complicated scaffolding to get this high. And yet, back in the day, with a couple of toothpicks, you can just scale up to the very topest building, bring whatever heavy material you want up there, and just create the most artistic, amazing things you ever seen in your goddamn life. And I say, bulge. Wow, even the cast iron guarding that little pipe is dope. And that's a very unexciting playground for a youngster. Maybe if the water was working. Whoa, the hell just happened? It's like, okay. Yeah, well, I didn't want to be over there anyway. Window shopping. Sigh. I already have everything in there, because everything in there is nothing, and I have nothing. That made no sense. What a funky place. No two walls are the same. Doors to nowhere. Sealed up doors and windows everywhere. Mysteries abound. People living on the tops of shops. And, I wonder how many of these buildings are even occupied. I don't think all of them. Oh, don't mind me. I wish I could go in there. But look at that. A hell of a doorway. It's insane. No one's even thinking about it. Just what we do. We just live amongst grandeur of an old world, and we know that someone built it at some point, and that's enough. It's there. There it is. So carry on. Pardon me, madame. I could not help but notice the doors that's underneath the window here. Has it always been this way? Has it always been so? This is where little people used to live. Right down there. See the little doors? Little pygmy folk. And no telling who put that there, and for what purpose. I'm sure a local historian could probably snuffle his nose and look down, adjust his spectacles, and look and say, oh, yes, we believe there. A gentleman named Father Anthony bestowed upon us this gift in the 15th century. It was stolen once by vandals, not modern vandals, by the people known as the Vandals. Modern-day Vandals are actually named after. They took their namesake from the Vandals, known for scarification of destruction of various cities. It was they who hoarded away the statue, and later on it was found by Sir Roger Penelope amongst a pile of driftwood, really, in an outskirt encampment, long abandoned. So it was restored to its proper place up there on the belfry. Are there any other questions while we're on this part of the tour? And of course I made all of that up, so don't quote me on that, unless you to follow it with, and then he said he'd made it all up, then that would be alright. But why you would ever do that is anyone's guess. Anyway, that's Langres, and what a place. What a cool fucking place. But there was more. In this one in particular, there were some outposts in the surrounding hillsides, if I recall. Now see, there are certain things that I notice, patterns, in every civilization. I'm sorry, every town, every settlement. This is no different. No different at all. And so it's not very difficult often to suss out the various things I'm looking for. But this one did surprise me. See if I can find it, because I think it's part of it over there. Not the one I'm looking for. There was several looking like fragments of forts. Again, I use the term fort loosely, but I don't see it. I have to consult my other sources here quickly. And I don't think it was this far out. No, that's wait, that is long. How did I get mixed up like that? There it is. No, that's not the one I was looking for, but that is one that we should probably look at. And its weirdness, looking recently excavated. I mean, I think actually those are little tractor, like bobcat type things in there right now as we speak. And no one's taken a picture recently, according to this version of Earth. But I think on the other one there's a few. And it looks freshly excavated to Brian, if you ask me, which no one is asking me, but I guess by being on this video, you are asking me. So there's your answer. Not the one I was looking for. It looks like a small fort broken in half. I can't explain these. Can anyone? No, we can try to. Only the most full of themselves stuffy bumfellow stumbled bum could probably be like, oh, I know for a certain that's a factory this way. Why? Because history books say so. You know what I mean? Learned men came before me and before you. Learned men. Well, if they're anything like the learned men from today, they're fucking retarded in a lot of ways. Master regurgitators. You know what else is a master regurgitator? Bird moms. Yeah. Yeah, think about that. Bird moms. Well, I'm afraid I have no choice but to consult the oracle that is my sidebar. Goodbye, Langres, for now. Just look at it. So green. France is a beautiful land. Found it. I knew I dropped a pen. I knew it. You can see here, it looks like earthworks being excavated and being kind of ignored. Like, no one's really seems to be paying much attention to it. But, I mean, the earth, obviously, taking the form of the angulated architecture underneath it. I mean, you can see the unnatural sort of ramps. This is as close as it'll let me get. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. But from above, you can see the shape, and it looks just like one cut right in half. Just interesting. Just a Starfort cut right in half. And actually, there's another one, another exactly perfect half somewhere on the other side. What does it mean? I don't know. Here's that other one. All in all, there are 5 total here. And this is what this one looks like, since it won't let us get closer. Same kind of thing, you see. Earthworks that seem to be built into or dug out of certain structures. And relatively ignored, except for whatever construction is going on there. See what's going on today. Or at least the day of this photo shoot. Random benches. Yeah. Come have a seat and just stare off into... And what is that? A Native American ruin, I'm sure. Oh my god, the Hopi were here in France too. I don't know what's going on there. They're turning into a subdivision? Who the hell can tell? The Candyman can. The Candyman can, cause he mixes it with love and takes the world taste good. Who can make a sunrise? Top it with the fruity song. I don't care who makes it as long as it's from Langres. How to Lose Friends and Confound People by Jack Whispers. Book sold dozen copies. I bought all of them. Here is another Starfort, and this is an interesting one. You see how it's submerged here? Barely can see it. Yet the trees grow only on the top of it. Now, how and why? Is it simply because that's where the plow, whoever's tilling the land in the area, was unable to go? They were unable to go on these ridges, and that's why everything grew there? Or is it something more like the Trail of Trees, where it's just... that's the lines where it's most fertile. That's for you to decide. I could go either way on it. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just ridged up right there, and so they can't sort of cut it flatly with a lawnmower. That could be. All right, that could be. Or it could be an area that was overly watered, since it had something to do with, like, it was like a hydro engineering something. I don't know, man. The Lonely Bush, an album by Jimmy. Those little sheep running around down there. Cute. And it's hard to say. This over here. It's hard to say why the trees grows where they grows. Only the trees knows, I suppose. Oh, pulled off the road for a little hanky-panky in your little white unmarked van, did you? Well, you can't hide from us. I'm telling somebody. No, I'm telling everybody. Hey, you guys, the white van, I'm the one they're making out. I'll give you the coordinates. Anyway. So little half forts here and there. This is another one. Actually, I don't know why I tagged this spot. This is a mistake, I think. Because that looks just like a regular-ass neighborhood to me. Yep. Nothing far to start for about this there. Sorry to bother. Was this a retirement camp? This place of vacation is... Sorry about that, Gavnaz. I'll leave you be. What an amazing tool. Just go anywhere, look at anything, for the most part. And here is another fragmentary. Looks the same as the first one, yes, but it is different. It's like second breakfast. It's very similar, but it's different. And this one also being excavated. I mean, they're straight up using an excavator. Look at this off to the side. These like stone barrels, petrified barrels or something. Clearly, there's more than meets the eye here. And I wonder what they're doing. Probably turning it into a fucking shopping mall. Let's see if it's any different now. And, actually looking... Oh, nice. You got him here too, huh? That's weird. Looks like it was shot at the very similar timing as the other one, because, I mean, the door's still half painted. But yeah, we're gonna turn this one into a strip mall. I can just imagine a bunch of boutique stores in there, like, strip, like, what's it called? Outlet malls? Those things that were popular at one point. Look at that. Just caves everywhere. Can you imagine finding that and just being okay with life after that? Like, just being like, oh, no big deal. Just found a freaking cave, ancient cave in some hill. It was stupid. Today sucked. See you tomorrow, bro. Maybe we can do some exciting, like get laid or whatever. Some floozy. I guess young minds doesn't think much sometimes. Maybe it doesn't at all. Well, let's scratch that from the record. A dizzying array of fields cut haphazardly into the land, looking like a child who got his hold of his mother's hair trimmer. And he's just zip, 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 giving the family pup a haphazard trim. Here's another one. And all of these to me looking like they have something to do with more akin to like a irrigation system than anything else. Like militarily. I mean, what good is this militarily? Can you just go around it? I would think so. But if this were like public pools or public flowing water for laundry purposes or drinking purposes or whatever, it seems like it makes way more sense. And this weird track thing in the middle of it. Like what good of a fort would this do? If your enemies could just come down on top of you like that. I mean, it just seems like not it. This is industrial. Maybe it's for mining. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe these forts are just mining material left by some ancient alien race who came here and mined a bunch of resources and then left the mining equipment here just like we do. Just leave it all in the middle of the forest. And then what we're dealing with is just the offspring of them, like the weaker version. Like Sauron was the Melkor. For those of you with the Lord of the Rings background. And I should actually do a little episode on that once, because there's a lot of interesting things and parallels you can draw from that stuff that I don't think are by coincidence. You know, we often accuse and find the wrong messages, the anti-human agenda messages in pop art and things like that, and other artists of the day. Now, are those artists always aware of what they're doing? No, of course not. Sometimes they're encouraged to do it. Sometimes they think they have the idea themselves, because I believe that they often channel spirits that they let in, whether wittingly or not. So probably certain cases, both. And so, why can't the good guys do the same thing? Why can't there be things that people with integrity and purity of intent channel information? Of course they can. And so, oftentimes, people are used to spread messages to other people. It's the only way. And they may not know where the inspiration came from. They may not even care. They might be totally misguided as to where it came from. They might think they came up with all of themselves. I don't know. But I don't think so, because I think most people that are creative, they're being honest with themselves. I guess I can't speak for everybody, but anytime there's something happens that I make that happens to be decent, if someone finds it interesting, usually I'm at a loss to explain how it happened. It's more of like, I don't know, I just went into a zone and then this happened. And I looked at it later and I was like, I'll be damned. It's kind of good. So I believe, of course, that benevolent spirits can harness people and channel, and that's how introducing good things into our psyche, good messages, good analogies, allegories. And of course, these are just the rambling thoughts of one guy who's sitting I'm not sitting, but who's standing in the room, wandering around a digital tour of abandoned fortifications in Europe. That's all it is, okay? Don't take this as gospel. I don't speak for anybody. I'm not trying to confirm some agenda. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I'm just literally throwing things out there. Things that I think about, questions I have, pontifications that I ponder, etc. I welcome the challenge. The only thing I don't welcome is the scorn of even trying to come up with something different. Even the attempt. Even the people that go balls out crazy, way out there, they're still trying to do the right thing. They're still trying to just figure out the truth for everybody else. Like, they're just still trying to do the right thing. This search for truth, the love of truth, that's what sets you free. The only ones that find the source are the ones that swim against the current. Got it? Good. Let's check out another spot. Rubber band ball. Who's the rubberiest band ball of them all? You are, sir. Now we will be heading to Laon. Now that you know the history.
This is a charming town located in the Picardy region of France, 2 hours north of Paris. A relatively small town with a population of only 25,000 people, but packed with history and character. One of the most striking features is this beautiful Gothic cathedral, an impressive sight. These soaring arches and intricate stone carvings, home to one of the largest organs in France. But there's a number of medieval churches here, an impressive set of ramparts and gates, and stunning views. A little bit of lesser-known history here is the connection to the Knights Templar. This, of course, was a very powerful and secretive order of knights who played an important role in the Crusades. Laon was home to a chapter of the order, and there are traces of their presence in the town today. The Templar Chapel, located just outside the town walls, was used by the knights during their time here. Another fascinating little bit of history here is the town's association with alchemy, the precursor to modern chemistry. It's a very misunderstood science. And Laon was home to a number of alchemists, including the famous Nicolas Flamel, who is said to have discovered the secret to eternal life. As if anyone would want that. In addition to these historical curiosities, Laon also played an important role in World War I. Occupied by German forces for most of the war, and there was significant damage, but today, visitors can explore the underground tunnels and bunkers that were used by the soldiers, not built by, but used by during the conflict. Laon may be small, but it is packed with hidden history and surprises. And let's see what we can see.
Now that you know the history of Laon, let's see what we can see with our own two peepers. Looking much more modernized than the Langres, and I believe that's because it's a lot larger, more populated. Yet, there's the old with the new. And again, we are running into some construction. Let's find out what they're doing. I wonder what this thing is over here. It looks like a merry-go-round bandstand thing. I wonder how the lights get electricity. Like, what? Oh, I see the wire now. Cleverly wrapped right in there, oh, you tricky tricksters. Very, very clever. And I can't zoom in because, whatever. Program limitations. Wonder what they're digging up over there. Does make you wonder, doesn't it? It's some electric conduits. And, what's up, guys? Mind if I, look down the hole? Another time then. The things that construction guys see, man. And then they just shrug them off. And it's until years later you'll mention something and they'll be like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I was working on that building once and I saw this. You're like, what? Would you say something? We all see crazy stuff. We all see stuff that doesn't make sense. We might tell a few people. It's just like when someone tells you they have an alien encounter. You ever have someone tell you about a flying saucer or an alien encounter they have? I have, and I thoroughly, in most cases, believe them. I believe them for complete. But I can't be as excited about it as they could be. I mean, I didn't see it myself, but I believe them. And if I know them, I know them to be a trustworthy person, why would they lie? But yet, none of us really do anything about it. Personally, I don't believe that those flying saucer people are from a place called outer space. Or at least not a place like that they describe. Not from some other floating ball. I don't even think we're on a fucking floating ball. It's preposterous. But I do believe that the misdirection that they're so known for applies in the situation. In other words, what I mean is I don't think that they came to us from flying ships. I think that they came to us via the earth. They tunneled in. They tunneled into us. They tunneled into our land that was before isolated, maybe even guarded, maybe even set apart intentionally. They tunneled in and they don't want us to look underground at all, so they point out and say, they're from out there. But really, they're underneath us. And that's how they got let in, and that's where we get this idea that hell is somewhere beneath you. And a terrifying prospect but you can much easier hide things underground than on the surface. And we are literally using a tool that proves that statement. Again, just what I think. Who am I? Nobody. Just a crazy person. And sometimes they tunnel too much. Maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally. And they cause earthquakes. I mean, what is Elon Musk doing with his boring project, right? What does he say he's doing? He says he's drilling. He says he's digging underground, creating massive freeway systems and things for Los Angeles. And the future's going to be underground and all that stuff. I mean, no one pays attention to the boring company. The name alone is, the play on words. Bore as in drill. We get it. It's a boring company. But I'd like to know exactly what they're drilling. And how far, when you own land, how far do you own the land underneath it? In other words, I own this house. Do I own the land underneath it? For how far? Am I allowed to tunnel into my own land? Am I allowed to dig a hole as deep as I fucking want in my own yard? I don't know. Something tells me I'm not. Something tells me I'm going to do it anyway. And look at this mambo jambo. My God. I think it's even possible in the world that we made this. Look how small we had to make the doors. And, okay, from here, it looks like that magnetron shape item is cast from the inside of it is cast from one piece of stone or whatever it is. Concrete. How is it possible that they could have lifted that up hundreds of years ago? I mean, this thing is just ridiculous. Just wandering around pretending like this is normal, huh, guys? Jesus. And it looks like a huge industrial piece of equipment. This looks like a power plant. Just gargoyles and stuff on it. My God. Like, I wouldn't think that'd be anything else. A church? Give me a break. Why? What God says you need that? No God ever. These magic clergymen. Oh yeah, the church built it. Oh yeah, well when did the church stop building anything? Because around here, the churches consist of a pastor, his family, some staff, maybe a security guard, and they're in a strip mall most of the time, or an older building that's been a church passed down. Now, they make churches, of course, new ones. Mormons, of course, make tons of them. They're the only ones making fancy churches anymore, it seems like. Most new churches are just moving into other buildings. It seems like. Again, I don't pay attention much to churches, all right? I'm not anti-religious or anything. I have a lot of really good people that it's about intent to me anyway. Life's about intent. I just feel like so much has been done maliciously through the church, sometimes unwittingly, yes, but oftentimes with the church's full knowledge. The people on top, these Billy Grahams and these con artists, make it hard to view the church as anything but being unsavory and disingenuous. Cool windows. I see that you are letting the maximum amount of light in. Nice. Makes sense. Office of Tourism. Hi. I'm gonna walk in there and say, hi, do you know how to get to the cathedral? You know where it's at? Yeah, you mean that thing? Yeah, I know where it's at. God, just incredible. We don't quite have them like that in America. There's a few, one in DC, one in New York. There's a few that kind of in the same style, but that is, that's definitely some old world shit right there. Church, magical church people know how to build this. When did the church forget how to build stuff? I had to help my freaking pastor change a tire, probably. And, not a very populated place, is it? I mean, few people on the streets, but, oh, you know why, probably? By judging on that person's mask, it's just probably, the year of the great flu season, when everyone panicked and ordered Uber for dinner, and the rest of us just sort of laughed and felt sad for our fellow countrymen. Weird doorway just shorn exactly in half. And we'll never know our real history. For all we know, we are a fish tank, and we're just little guppies put in amongst these old castles. Just like I did when I had fish tank. I bought these old ruins, these little clay ruins, columns and whatever, little pirate ships and stuff, and just stuck them in the aquarium. And there's your new home, fishers. And I got all happy when they'd swim around. Look, he's in the castle, guys. He's in the castle. He loves it. And maybe that's exactly what we're doing here. Meanwhile, something else is pointing at me, going, "Look, he's in the little house. He seems to like it in there." Yeah. The hell do I know? I know that I'm confused by many things. That's what I know. I know that you're probably confused as well if you're anything like me, unless it's a deeply singular experience. Odd that all the stone is roughly the same color, except for the brick on the left over there. I see you did not escape my scrutiny. I didn't have to turn my head. There's more of it. And, trying to figure out what that means. Beware of man shoveling coal. All right, I will. What about these brick-clad exteriors? Everything made of brick, as usual. I might have known. Still, there's brick lying around here, too. Brick everywhere. Oh, what have I done? Well, you know what? Maybe I wanted to be done. What do you know of it, Laon? And, this looking like, more ruins in here. Of course, everything ruins everywhere. But look at that. See a little turret out there? Yep, I see it, all right. I see it. I don't know what this marking is. Pen. I must have missed my pen drop. Although I notice that sometimes pen drops move on you. So riddle me that. Like, what's the deal with that? And I can't really prove it. I guess I could take screenshots, but who really gives a damn? But this is what I was trying to tag, no doubt. This ruined area. And, not this. Where that person's parking in their car. Maybe that's that same guy, dude. He's pulled over this city, too. Dude, I told you, I freaking hanky panky, bro. Well, there's another fortification. Some massive rocks here. Let's check it out. Yeah, looks like a castle's blown to bits. Right across the street. What do you got over there? I don't know, an ancient tower? Boring. I mean, wow. That's not boring to me at all. As a matter of fact, I'd be over there every day with a fucking shovel or something. Well, you still can. Wow, look at that. Just amazing. Virtually no curiosity, it seems like, for most of the world. Yeah. Fuck that. Caves in history are boring, dude. We're way better than that, dude. Caveman. I mean, they relatively made history. They made it so boring by saying, we're the best thing that ever happened. Everyone before was stupid. I mean, look at that. What is that? That's a wall built into the mountain. What does that tell you about mountains? Maybe they're not mountains. I mean, yeah, add 20, 30 more years to that wall, and what? It's no longer anything. Those aren't blocks, they're rocks. That's not a doorway, that's a cave. Add 100 years. Add 1,000 years. Look around you today. What's similar? Everything, bro. Where I live, the mountains, the rock outcropping out here, most of the time look so much like weathered castles that I just look at the people around me like, hey, dude, check it out, dude. Look at that. Look at that mountain. What do you think? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, look at it again. Like, what do you think? Mountain, huh? Yeah, dude, I see it. What? They're like, okay. Just wanted to make sure I was still the only one that's crazy around here. And usually I am. And who's next? Where's next, I should say. That's right. Sisteron.
Continuing on with Sisteron in the Alpes de Haute-Provence, the area of southeastern France. Sorry, did I get a little loud here? Did I get a little loud, Jerry? Well, I'm sorry, okay? Fuck, you're the engineer, dude. You fucking figure it out. Okay. Alpes de Haute-Provence is the area of southeastern France that we will be visiting today. Knock that beeping off, Jerry. Hold on. Now then, Sisteron has been inhabited since the prehistoric times, we're told, with evidence of human habitation dating back to the Neolithic period, including caves and rock shelters. Wow. Roman-era Sisteron was an important Roman town, located at the strategic crossroads between Italy and the Rhone Valley. There were fortifications built and a bridge, which allowed them to control the movement of goods and troops through the region. This was a route that Napoleon took to the Alps. This town was a home to a number of important religious institutions, including a monastery and several churches. It was an important center of Renaissance, with many towns' historic buildings constructed. The citadel that still dominates the town's skyline. A thriving tourist industry today, thanks to this same historic architectural and the beautiful natural surroundings and the mild climate, and it's known for excellent food and wine, just like everywhere in France. This town, however, also has a deep connection to the Knights Templar. As a matter of fact, I found a channel where there was a man filming the Templar Knights in action today, or their sort of seemingly Nazi-ish current offspring. In fact, this person was referring to the town as Sisteron, and claiming it was a very pagan place, and in fact going around showing the various pagan details, of which we'll see if we can run into any of them. The Templar cross is still seen on the facade of the 12th century Saint Dominique Church, which was built on the site of the former Templar chapel. This town was also an important part of the resistance during World War II, smuggling weapons, supplies, as a refuge for fighters and refugees. There are very many underground resistance tunnels, which were once used to transport goods and people in secret. I have also heard tell of from an old miner in the area that there's deep tunnels hidden within this mountain, and often overlooked by tourists. And let's have a look.
Alright, and you can see that from those pictures, Sisteron looks like, to me, like it's on the edge of a massive tree. Some huge petrified wood growth, it looks like, to me, to more Brian. And here's the stuff at the geometrosity, as I like to call them, Geometropolis. And over there, across the river, or the canal, more likely, you can see the tree portion, what I'm calling a tree portion. And really, an astounding little city. I don't like the modernization of it. The tan roofs, everything looking the same. It takes away from the beauty of this place. Now, while searching this particular city, it was breathtaking views here, I came across many things, including a few old anecdotes about someone saying that they had a grandfather or something that worked here, lived here, and worked inside the mountain in the mines, working on some sort of lake, a dam inside the mountains. There is apparently lake water. And what is this, quartz in there? You can see the top layer here being brick, that red. You see that? But the rest of it's sort of an aggregate. That couldn't be what the wall's made of. That's like a cladding. I would be, probably the interior is probably actually brick, the actual bones of it. But what a breathtaking place. It really is. You could see the Huns approaching for miles. No wonder they use it as a fort. Let's check it out. And this always baffles me. So what is going on here? This looks like that foam that you spray inside the gaps and like concrete, and it foams out. Because back behind it, you can see, the regular stone back there. And this is like one of the mountains. So I just don't understand what I'm looking at. Did they build these columns and then somehow cut into the rock? It seems unlikely. How could you cut rock like that? But how could the rock come afterwards? Unless the rock was soft once or something, and it sort of squished out from in between, like it was hot and melted at one point. And I don't know. None of it looks right. It looks dysfunctional. It looks like something happened. And that's the area that I'm talking about that looks like wood across the way there. Does that not look like an old stump, like grooves in the bark? Yeah, it looks like it to me. It's a little mud flood, little village down there, of course. And what's that? Oh, it's a random cave. Not a cave. I mean, it's the doorway. Blocks inside of it. It's a doorway. It's the shape of a doorway. But yeah, we're going to call it a cave probably. Who knows why it's there? Probably because the whole mountain used to be part of a building. The only thing that makes sense to me. Oh yeah, you got your little oval track over here on the left here. Yeah, of course. You can't have a place without it. The whole world is a lie in a lot of ways. That might seem depressing to you, but to me it's kind of refreshing. Because in a way, I kind of already knew it. Let's go down here, see some pictures that other people took. Very grateful for these always. Let's find a different one. This one's an older one. Not sure how they do the whole 360 thing if it's an older camera. Guess you just take a panoramic and spin around in a circle or something. I don't know. I gotta submit some of these then. From my neck of the woods, in case anyone's interested in seeing what modern-day non-historical areas look like. And that's, totally normal. Yeah.
Look over there, Jamie Bob. What do you see? Yeah, it's the Huns. They're coming. Yeah.
That looks so much like wood to me, I can't believe it. How is that anything but petrified wood? It's a massive tree. It looks like it got knocked down. I don't know what all this is. I can't explain it. I don't think it's how you build a castle, though. Right into the rock like that. I just don't. What do you guys think? Yeah, whatever. I don't speak French. It's a strange language. I wish I did. I wish I could be like, écoutez de vieux, Sisteron, ça le billet, de biche de vieux de bill, and all that. Sounds really nice. Let's scratch that from the record. Sounds like making fun. Now, like, look at that. What is that? What is that? What came first? The block or the column? The fuck happened there? Wait, that must be like a camera overlap thing. Hold on. Can't be reality. Okay, I didn't think so. But real reality here is weird enough. I mean, what came first, the block or the columns? It looks like the columns. They built the block around it, but why would they do that? What a great image. Look at that. Look at that. Just beautiful. The coloration on that is just really cool. And that's what it looks like in real life for sure. That's not a mistake. The subterranean levels of France are known for their hot pinks and yellows. Trust me, I'm lying. And I ain't going back in that psychedelic place. Not without headphones. Missed opportunity, if you ask me. Nothing like a good church session. And on the top of that clock tower, would you just look at that? Looks like an old elevator. But probably some sort of electric item. Certainly has the electric sort of symbols that we're told are Jesuit, just so it can explain it. And this place looking a lot more modern than Langres. A lot more built out, or covered up as it were, and I don't like it. I prefer the old world. There was a time in my life when I would have said, I want to get rid of all the manuscripts. Actually, there is a time. Okay, so I've been building this, what I was calling years ago, 10 years ago, maybe more, a survival pack, right? And it was all the relevant, pertinent information I thought anyone, in a doomsday situation where you cut off from the internet and stuff, you'd have all the information you need. Whether it's topographical maps, how to do this, how to build a wood power generator, how to build, how to plumb, how to trap animals, whatever it is. Everything I could get my hands on. Thousands of documents. And I remember specifically finding sites and being like, well, I don't need anything that's older than, 1980 or whatever. I need newer, fresher, more pertinent information than the older days. And I filtered out the documents like that. Fast forward till now I'm like exactly the opposite. I'm like, I don't need anything newer than 1913. Everything before 1913 is where it's at. And then those are the kind of documents I hoard. Now, it's just funny. It's funny how you change, You change, you grow, you learn, and at least I hope that you do. And you're surprised where you end up. If your intent is pure and you truly want the truth, man, it takes you on a strange adventure. And unfortunately, while there's a few people around me that I have been able to kind of I don't really force on anybody. Anyone who's interested, I might drop a little gem here and there and see what they do with it. But, there's not very many people outside of my very immediate close loved ones that, I can explore these ideas with. It's a shame. Because I really wish I could build a network of people just to talk about stuff. I don't know whether to do it on Discord. I don't know what's a reasonable site to post, making documents available for anyone to look at. I guess I gotta run my own website or something, as if there's time for that. But places you won't get shut down, places that will allow free speech and stay out of your business. Or maybe I need to run it on a private server, or I don't know. I'd be open to ideas though. But I would love to start just a little something just for people just to kind of come together and talk about ideas. It doesn't have to be in person. That'd be cool, but I'm more so just the ability to share pictures, share videos, share thoughts, share ideas. Telegram's great, but it doesn't really, it's kind of too easy for it to get spread out and lost. Discord's a little bit confusing, and they shut people down for no reason because they're doing the woke crap. So I don't know, I'm kind of looking for something like that to set up if there's any interest in it, because I'd love to share this. Oh my god, I have so many old documents and so many things, way too much. I need to clone myself 50 times to go through it all. And there's no way, especially with a real job. And the real responsibility is constantly throwing you curveballs, which is what's kept me away for a minute. But I'm back now, and I'll continue to come back like an ocean tide, because I'm relentless. Relentless, I say. And I don't care if one person is interested. That's enough. That's enough to keep me going. Each one teach one. That's how you reach one. And maybe one day we won't be scared to have children anymore. I shouldn't say it like that. What I mean is scared to introduce children to this world. Here you go. I just gave you life in this fucked up place. And I'll be leaving soon. Good luck. Sorry, we made it so bad. That kind of thing. Having a child enter the world guilt-free. Which right now I feel like, yeesh, I feel terrible. I mean, just the prospect even of attempting to avoid the hospitalization process and avoid, the instant fuckery where your baby's born. It's been in here for one minute in the world. Now we're going to go pump it full of chemicals. How do you, just the fist fight immediately to maintain some sort of control of your own families. The thought of it is tiresome and discouraging. And I'd like to get to a place where we don't have those fears anymore. Where we shatter these foundations of this trap that we're born into. And we build it the way we want. We reset up the libraries and the post offices. We set up everything the way that it should have been. The way we were told that it was. The dream we were sold. Make that dream a reality. Or start a new dream. Make that dream a reality. Whichever it is. And all it needs is, all of us. Just every human ever, It's totally feasible. So just tell your friends. If they can see it, they can believe it. And really, it's that simple. I do believe.